Hi and good evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I am Buddham. Now the latest headlines from world channels and news agencies.
Purported leak.
abc.net.au or download the ABC News app. Today, the Israeli government approves a ceasefire and hostage deal with Hamas set to begin tomorrow. Tens of thousands are still without power in New South Wales as wild weather hits the state. TikTok says it will be forced to go dark in the US on Sunday unless the Biden administration steps in before a ban takes effect. And Australia's last hope in the tennis, Alex de Minaur down a set in his third round clash in Melbourne. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ruby Cornish.
Ban in the U.S.
What am I supposed to do? They're going to take away TikTok.
By unanimous decision, the Supreme Court upheld that ban, a new law set to take effect Sunday requiring the Chinese owners of the app to sell to an American buyer or have the app blocked to its 170 million users across the country. Now, why President-elect Trump may have the fate of TikTok in his hands and what users can expect if the ban goes into effect. Plus, a major change for President-elect Trump's inauguration. For the first time since 1985, frigid cold is forcing the swearing-in ceremony to be moved inside. The switch-up for security, planned celebrations, and events. And
there's a lot of people that work really hard because things are changing. Things are changing a lot.
What do you mean by that?
The economy.
Communities along our country's border prepare to be thrust into the national spotlight again at the start of President-elect Trump's second term. Reflect on trade with Mexico, the possibility of a border shutdown, and tariffs. Also, how this next administration plans to bolster the economy. Good evening. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following breaking news at this hour, the hostages and that long-awaited ceasefire deal. The Israeli government has approved that truce deal. But first, we are going to begin tonight with the sudden change in the inauguration location. Dangerous cold, forcing the ceremony inside for the first time since 1985. So tonight, after months of
Tonight, the Supreme Court upholding a law that could ban TikTok in the U.S., but will it actually be enforced? The unanimous ruling allowing the ban to take effect just days from now for TikTok's 170 million users in the U.S., unless its Chinese owner sells it, citing national security concerns. But the Biden administration saying it will leave TikTok's ultimate fate in the hands of President-elect Trump. What he's saying tonight and what happens to your phone Sunday if the law takes effect. Also tonight, the winter storm sweeping from the plains to the northeast. An Arctic blast bringing the coldest air of the season to tens of millions. And that deep freeze forcing Monday's inauguration to be moved inside for the first time in 40 years. The last-minute scramble. The confirmation hearing for President-elect Trump's Homeland Security pick, Kristi Noem, what she revealed about the immigration overhaul he plans on day one. The battle against California's wildfires. New tonight, many of the 31 people still missing, now identified. Moments ago, Israel's full cabinet approving the Gaza ceasefire deal. New details on how and when the hostages will be released. And it started as a way to help her friends displaced by the fires. After a boost by some big names, the overwhelming response.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
We're preparing for the worst.
Tonight, what's next for TikTok and its 170 million American users as the Supreme Court allows a ban of the popular app to move forward.
just knowing that we're going to lose that chunk of income. How are we going to supplement that?
Donald Trump moves his inauguration inside because of frigid temperatures. The near impossible challenge of finding a place to live for Californians who lost everything in the wildfires.
This is a housing crisis on top of a housing crisis.
Big spark plug off event. And it's Friday, so we go on the road with a sports commentator beating the odds.
Just because somebody may be blind or deaf or whatever disability you want to say, doesn't mean they're not capable of something.
The CBS Evening News starts now.
All right, the one and only Billy Ray Cyrus is here with more. Great to see you again. This, by the way, I want my audience to know your love of troops, your love of country. This is, you're no Johnny-come-lately here. Troops, your love of country. This is, you're no Johnny-come-lately here. Many years ago when we did fundraising for troops, for scholarships, for slain soldiers, you were there. You did a whole concert series with us. I got to know you and your family. This is a real passion of yours. Talk about it.
Yes, sir. I wrote the song back in 1989 about a Vietnam veteran I met up in Huntington, West Virginia. Driving home that night, I wrote a song about him and changed my life and kind of became my definition and purpose of why I bought a guitar and started a band and traded in my catcher's mitt for that left-hand guitar. I was looking for the purpose of my life, and I think some gave all and supporting our troops and this great country's part of it.
Well, I mean, when you really think about it, the freedoms, I think all of us take them for granted, right? We wake up every day, we live our lives, you know, we don't stop, pause, think, pray, and be grateful for those sacrifices. We do take times, we do at times, but probably not enough. When Butler happened, I think everybody remembers where they were. I remember when Trump stood up, but I saw the blood on his face. I thought he got shot. I thought he might drop again. I was worried about that. I was watching very closely. Then you hear about this. How did that all come about?
I was watching it live on TV, you know, just watching the. It happened so fast. I thought, did the president just get shot? What just happened? And as you know, it kind of broke into this moment of no one knowing. And I will say, when President Trump stood up and he had that blood on his face and he stood up and raised his fist and said, fight, that was one of the photographs and moments of the most defining definition of some gave all.
On this Friday night, bracing for a tariff war.
But if push comes to shove, we will be strong.
The last-minute preparations to prevent it, and the billions of dollars in potential counter tariffs from Canada. From Deputy Prime Minister to Prime Minister, why Chrystia Freeland says she's the one to take on Donald Trump. Southern Manitoba's winter whiteout, the mayhem, misery, and warning to drivers. And the eagle that tried to cross the road.
He wasn't a happy camper.
The Canadians who helped this bird soar into the sky again.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Carolyn Jarvis.
Good morning. Labour's Chagos Islands deal is thrown into chaos.
The incoming president, Donald Trump, has stepped in to stop Starmer signing away that all-important territory.
Well, as a new era gets underway, they're calling it Trump Take Two.
Millionaires are fleeing Britain over Labour's tax plans, prompting concerns that that is going to damage the economy.
A row breaks out over triple lock pensions. Is number 10 right to refuse to rule out future means testing? We're debating that this morning.
Farm tax furore. MSPs join the revolt as fears grow for the future of the family farm as we know it.
Here's one for you. How often do you actually use your landline? If you've got one, well, there are big changes coming. Stay tuned to find out when the big switch off is happening.
Use a landline?
No, I don't use one.
I do. What kind of things do you use it for?
When the reception is poor.
No, we do not use a landline.
And it's the most common day to abandon your New Year's resolution. So are you going to join in with National Quitters Day?
It's farewell to the king of the Stretford End. Tributes are paid within football and far beyond for Manchester United legend Dennis Law, who's died at the age of 84.
Grey and gloomy for many of us. Crisp winter sunshine, though, for some. I'll have the full weekend forecast coming up very soon.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
This is DW News live from Berlin. Israel's governing coalition endorses a ceasefire deal with Hamas. The cabinet vote after midnight paves the way for a 6-week pause in the fighting. On Sunday, the first hostages held by Hamas are expected to return to Israel in exchange for dozens of Palestinian prisoners. Also coming up, the US Supreme Court upholds a ban on TikTok unless the platform is sold by its Chinese parent company. Justices ruled that the risk of national security outweighs concerns about curbing free speech. I'm Monica Jones. Welcome to the programme.
This is Asia Now.
It's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi and 1 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Paul Sung. At this hour, impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol arrives at court where judges are set to decide on a petition launched by investigators to issue a formal arrest warrant and extend his detention. The Gaza ceasefire deal clears the final hurdle after days of uncertainty. Israel's cabinet votes to approve the agreement, paving the way for a pause in fighting in the besieged enclave and the exchange of prisoners for hostages from tomorrow. Crunch time for TikTok. The popular video app says it will go dark on Sunday across the US when its federal ban takes effect. That's unless the Biden administration intervenes and blocks the enforcement of the law earlier upheld by the US Supreme Court.
Report from Geneva for France 24 News on major developments from UN peace talks, global health and emergencies, and Swiss politics and finance.
John Zaracostas, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.
Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak. My name's Peter O'Brien. Here are the headlines. Israel approves a truce with Hamas. A ceasefire will come into effect and hostages will be exchanged for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. TikTok threatens to go dark unless Joe Biden provides guarantees a ban won't be enforced 48 hours before he leaves office. The Colombian president suspends peace talks with the ELN rebel group, which has been amassing former FARC territory, accusing them of committing a war crime. Here's the latest on that truce in Gaza. Israel says it will release 700.
Sudan's military and its allies have taken back a strategic city from the rebel rapid support forces, officials confirmed. The recapture of the city of Wad Madani, the capital of Jazeera province, came more than a year after it fell to the RSF. Wad Madani had previously been a safe haven for displaced families in the early months of the war. The conflict in Sudan started in April 2023 when simmering tensions between the leaders of the military and the RSF exploded into open fighting in the capital Khartoum. The conflict has killed more than 28,000 people since. The French government has just handed over its detachment camp in the city of Abshir to Chad. The Chadian Minister of Defense, his delegation and French officials participated in the ceremony. For the French military, the result of many years of presence in northern Chad has been strengthened through strong ties, not only with the Chadian soldiers, but also with the local population. These ties are a living testament to the friendship that unites our people. And despite the departure of our troops, this friendship will last. Today, after so many years in Abshir, the situation is different. Chad has strengthened its capabilities and is able to face the security and humanitarian challenges in Wade. The return of the camp to the Chadian military is a symbol of this. This withdrawal is not a farewell from France, but a see you later from its soldiers.
Ce retrait n'est pas un adieu de la France, mais un au revoir de ses militaires.
The Minister of Defence, who congratulates the decision, still wants to remind everyone that the deadline for the departure of French troops remains January the 31st. We recall that the statements made by Emmanuel Macron prompted a response from the current president, Idriss Mohamed Deby, who clarified that the decision for the troops' departure came from Chad.
Pour moi, l'occasion de réitérer la ferme volonté.
For me, this is an opportunity to reiterate the firm will of the government to respect the established deadlines, with the final departure of French forces from Chad set for January 31st, 2025. That's January the 31st, 2025. It's non-negotiable.
Cette date est impérative. Cette date est non négociable.
Abshir, a city in northern Chad, has been known for years for its hostility to the presence of the French base. Demonstrations calling for the departure of the base have always occurred in the city, even though they were violently suppressed by the Chadian regime in the past. 2 days before the departure, 100 trucks loaded with containers and heavy equipment seemed aboard. Bute Gemeshu secured the men's title with a time of 02.0451. The 23-year-old newcomer has only competed in a handful of international races so far. Meanwhile, on the finishing straight and won in a world lead of 02.87. Seconds behind in the 18.
Thank you for sparing your precious time. This is Amir Shakil. Have a good life. Bye-bye.